All right, my friends, got a special guest with you today. Goes by the name of Ebony Lambert. In fact, do you mind introducing yourself and what you stand for and all these things, what you do for a living?
So my name is Ebony Lambert, and my company name is One with Ebony. And so I am yoga, basically. That's what everyone calls me is, hey, is that yoga girl? So yes, everything surrounds around yoga, peace, harmony, balance, health, patience, meditation.
And this is a full-time thing?
This is a full-time thing, yes.
For how
long? So I left my 9-to-5 job about 2 years ago and literally just took a leap and have not stopped yet.
So what do you find to be the most challenging thing about working for yourself?
You know, when I first thought about working for myself, I thought I would have more free time, be able to be more flexible with my schedule, but it's like you have to hustle because it's about, you know, it pays bills.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, it's what I love to do. So you don't want to lose that passion and love because you're so hungry to be able to pay your bills. So you have to find a balance there, and definitely not lose the love of it.
Okay. Yeah, because this is one of those things. So yoga is your job, but people also use this to relax and all these other things. So is there something that you do to get away from yoga, or is that just the way is it everything?
It's everything. It's funny because people say, well, what do you do when you need to de-stress or when you need a break? And I'm like, I go to my mat. Whether I'm physically moving or just sitting there being still, it's still surrounded by yoga.
And so how early do you wake up?
About 6 o'clock.
Okay. And as opposed to, what job were you working before?
It was a 9-to-5 job for a moving company, so very, very stressful.
A moving company? Ooh, you weren't doing any of the...
No, I wasn't moving, but I was in the sales department, being admin and sales, so it was a lot of, I got yelled at by the movers, by the salesperson, by the customer, so it was just constant stress. And one day in the middle of typing, I was just like, I can't. My part-time yoga and full-time 9-to-5 job, then it just wasn't balancing. And I just sat up and said, it's time to go.
How long were you plotting on leaving before you did?
Probably about a full year, because I would get off of work, go home, take a break, and then go teach a yoga class. And it was just like, wow, why can't I do this 24/7?
This is interesting. And do you think you constantly reflecting on that you think the universe kind of conspired to bring that about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Think what you want to happen, speak what you want to happen, and it will happen.
Yeah, this is interesting because I was thinking the same thing, because when I was working in construction, I mean, it's rough as is. And then I spent a lot of time in D.C. and the driving and the parking. That was pretty rough. I got tired of people telling me what to do, treating me like this and that. So every day at work, I would have my headphones in. I'm always listening to people who quit their jobs, people who work for them, all these things. I got to the point I was like, you know what? Come tax time, if I get at least $7,000, man, I am out. And it's funny because right around the time when it was tax season, and I saw that, okay, I'm about to get $7,000, kind of exactly, I got fired. And
wow.
And then the very next day, I meet this guy in the thrift store, just because, you know, my child's mom, she's like, you know, you want to go to the thrift store? I'm like, okay, maybe I might find something to sell. I get in there, I'm like, I can't find anything to sell. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I'm researching, okay, hey, what do you sell from the thrift store? And the number one thing was books. So I go into books, I'm saying, well, maybe I can put books together and they buy them in collection or whatever. Then I see this guy scanning books. And I'm like, you work here? No. Like, do you sell books? Yeah. So he pretty much showed me how to do it. And I would sell books to him for a while. And then eventually he showed me how to do it by myself. And because my mind was always focused on escaping, I think that I just started finding ways. Like I didn't, because my plan was, okay, because I've written books. Prior to me getting fired, I probably had published about 7 books. I was like, you know what, I'm going to be a writer full time. That's what I thought my thing was going to be. So I meet the guy, and then I started, you know, getting lines of credit just randomly, and just enough to make me, help me survive. And you know, this was in January, and I made it pretty much to the end of the year, and things are looking up. So that's why I was asking, because I just really understand that if you're fixated on something, you keep your ears towards the information. Weird things happen, man. I like to say the universe conspires, God, whatever it is, but it does seem to happen for you, especially when you surrender and you get out of your own way.
Very powerful. So, and here's an example, and it's something so simple, but an example today. I pulled up to Ross, and I was going to go inside. I just wanted some yoga pants, and I literally parked my car, and something said, "No, this isn't the place for you." So I just backed my car up. I drove across the street to the thrift store, walked in, and was led to this aisle. And literally, I found like 10 yoga pants for $2. Like just ones that like gravitated to me. They have elephants on them and lions on them and different things. And it's just something that simple. Like the more you awaken yourself and you're open, things just start guiding you and you just follow.
Wow. So, you have kids?
I have 3 kids.
3 kids. So, what's some advice that you can give to young parents like myself, raising kids and also being an entrepreneur? And I know you weren't a full-time entrepreneur the whole time, but I'm sure there's something that you can add.
So I have 2 boys and 1 girl, and I noticed in the beginning I thought leaving the 9 to 5 would allow me more time with my family, and it didn't. I mean, I'm always teaching yoga classes, private sessions, going to networking events, trying to build my business. And it took that in the beginning. It took more work from me than what I was doing at a 9 to 5 job. But I know for a fact, not even I know my children see my passion for yoga, and I know they've seen how it's healed them. My oldest son had an injury from basketball. I put him on a yoga mat. He's healing. My youngest son, the school tried to put him on medication, and I said no, but I'll put him on a yoga mat, and I did. And they saw such a difference in him that they have me now come to the school and teach the kids yoga. And my daughter went through some emotional time. Girls can handle high school and all that a little different. And so I teach her breathing exercises. And I think when they see that, then they know, like, mom is not leaving us every day just to go out there and just, do stuff. She is healing people. And in return, I'm healing myself. In return, it just goes on to my kids.
Okay. So I discovered an interesting thing about myself. I'm my parents. Do you think all kids are like their parents? Or?
I think you're like your parents in some way. And then I think sometimes children are like, well, I don't want to be like my mom or my dad, My dad is a very, very successful man, CEO of a company. And that lifestyle just isn't for me. And my mom worked for the post office for several years, and now she's retired and she travels the world. So it's almost like I do have the mix of
Pieces.
2 of them, together to build what I'm building.
Yeah, I was really sitting down thinking about this. Some things I think are just innate, because my father was a hustler, and my mom was a poet and is very good at finding bargains. See, the interesting thing is my father died when he was 17. So he had me when I was he was about 15. He died before I was 2. So then I grew up to be a hustler. He sold dope. I sold dope. I didn't get in the hard stuff really, but I did sell dope. I did write a lot of poetry. I know how to buy low and sell high. I'm always looking for the cheaper prices. And I just it had me thinking, because of who my child's mother is. She's an astrologist and also a writer and all these things, and a singer. And and I'm a writer, a hustler, and all. I just wonder how much would actually rub off to my daughter. Yeah. Because I definitely want to raise her in a different way than I was brought up. I don't even really want to put her in public school, homeschool if I could. I don't know if that's going to be the case. What's your philosophy on that?
So I actually, someone reached out to me that does homeschooling, and she said there's not many, after school programs for kids that are in homeschool. And so she asked me if I could create a yoga program for them. And I thought, wow, that's, so powerful to be able to do that for homeschool kids. If I had a choice, I would have homeschooled all my children. I think a lot of people look at that and think that kids will start to miss out on communication skills if they're not around, everyday schooling. But so much happens in school. I mean, I remember when I was elementary, middle, high, like you go through so much. And to have a foundation at home, I just think that's beautiful.
Yeah. So one thing I noticed I just kind of picked up on it, speed. You move fast, don't you?
No.
You don't?
I think I'm busy, but it's not a bad busy. I've had to teach myself how to pull back. I've had to teach myself how to have discipline, how to have boundaries. Because, I'm teaching people and I'm changing their lives. So it's like they build that connection with me. And it's like I want to go to class after class after class. And I want to get more, Thai massages from Ebony and all these things. And it's like I have to also know when to pull back and say, no, I'm busy, or this is my schedule, or this is my family time. And so I'm really, really learning how to do that.
So how do you discipline yourself?
By saying no. I used to not. Someone could call me and say, I'm going through this, this, and that, and I will let the money go out the door and think, let me just go and give and give and give and give. But it is my business, so I have to have something in return. Now, there are probably about 2 or 3 classes that I do donation based. Because I don't want someone to miss out that really cannot afford to be able to come to yoga. But then on the flip side, I have to have discipline. I have to say, I have bills just like everybody else, and this is my business.
So why'd you say yes to me?
There was something about you. If I'm drawn to certain people, then I go. Just like today with the store. If I was moved to not go in there, I don't know what it is, but I listen.
Yeah, because like you asked me, do we have to meet in person? Could we do it online? And I was like, I take other people's kind of skepticism into consideration. I'm saying, look, no, we can do it through the computer. Whatever. I just want to collaborate. But you spearheaded, say, let's meet here and there. You took control, and I really appreciate that, because people, a man coming forward like that, you think, oh, what is it? Yeah. What does he want from me? Oh yeah, here it comes. It's only a matter of time before the rug gets pulled. So I was just wondering if, like, you just said it, but you just pick up on something that's just intuitive or whatever.
I pick up on a lot, and then when you're in person with people, energy is very, very powerful for me. And I have to be careful. I get a lot of men in my inbox, that aren't there for good reasons, so I have to block those out, but I do not want men to miss out on yoga or the health benefits. I feel like it's always women that feel like they need yoga or meditation or massages, but men need it just as much.
Oh yeah, I'm about as stiff as a figurine. Yeah, for real. I definitely understand that. So I had recorded a video, I think it was yesterday, 2 days ago, and because I built up a following speaking on semen retention. So I was talking about how hypersexuality is ruining our lives as men, our potential, our relationships, and things like that. And part of that was energy. Women can sense the pervertedness out of a man or whatever. They can. It's this weird thing, because it's like we emit this type of energy where it's like after we masturbate, we feel guilt, we feel shame for some reason, and we go around women, and it's almost like we can feel that they feel that something's missing, that we feel insecure and all these things, and they can pick up on our intentions also. So it's just pretty interesting, the dichotomy, because I've been practicing semen retention since the end of January. And I've noticed the changes pretty much instantly. I mean, and other people can relate to it as well. And one of the biggest benefits is that I can actually, it sounds dirty to say, but I can actually look at women as if they're women, more than just a sexual object. And the benefits from that alone, it makes me want to collaborate more with women on a platonic level, and really see them for, greater than what we have marginalized them to, like the box we have put them in. And one thing I actually discovered recently, because you're a full-time entrepreneur, I feel like women are better at business than men, because obviously we have our own aspects, but the reason why women are better at real estate is because they're not so focused on the numbers, they're focused on the emotional buy. Okay, so it's like, oh, can you imagine doing this in this house and that? So I think that's really good for business as things start to balance out. It's more flavor, more colorful. Is that what you bring to your business? Women, we're more emotional. Our hearts are more open. And then you have to remember, yoga poses aren't just for, to build muscle, to build strength. There's power yoga, and you can use it for that. But there's also poses that you are specifically doing to release different emotions in the body.
When I first started doing yoga myself, I would sit in hip opener poses and just cry and cry and cry. And so I went past the physical part of yoga and went deeper. Like, these are emotions. Women carry a lot of emotions in our hips. So that's what I was releasing. I was releasing pain, past pain, and I had to keep letting it go. So my heart is so open. Everything about me is very, very open. And so I know when I'm giving to others, they can feel that. That's, I think the other day I said, it doesn't really matter what yoga teacher you go to. There's absolutely no competition in this yoga career. One yoga teacher can teach the same pose as me the exact same way, but the small difference is our heart. So how you hear me express for you to do a yoga pose, I'm giving it to you from my heart, from my own experience, what I've been through in life, and vice versa, the other teacher. So when it comes to women, we're powerful. We are so powerful, and we're not afraid to open and express and heal. And I think that's where men are different, is a lot of men still want to remain closed and not heal. And I'll give you an example. One of my clients received Thai therapy, and Thai therapy, it's massage-like. It's a lot of hands-on, but it's a lot of energy release. And I could literally feel the tears inside of this man every time I placed my hands on him and just allowed him to release and release and release. And when he sat up, he was like, I have no idea what just happened. You know, men don't have that moment in time to really express and let go and cry if they need to. And I just felt like he was sobbing, crying, pain, anger, resentment, everything that he has bottled up inside of him.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Men really do need that release. Mm-hmm. If we don't get that release, it turns into something extremely toxic, mm-hmm. which I grew up around. As an adult, I didn't really understand how I can open up to a lot of my guy friends and it wouldn't be reciprocated. Mm. But for some reason, I've found ways to pull this emotion out of me. To cry, to dance in the dark in my therapy, to be completely honest, even sometimes just to lash out by myself, mm-hmm. and to let myself know that I'm not okay. I know that there's still something in there that needs to be worked out of me, but I've found those releases and found that a lot of guys, to your point, their mentality is just to suck it up, and it builds up so bad that they find that their only solution is to end it all. Because I mean, and if it doesn't, it's going to find a way to eat you up from the inside out anyway. You know, I wanted to ask you something because women have been placed in this box. So what's at least one thing that they can do to separate themselves from the mold that's been laid out from a patriarchal system?
I make it a point now to engage with women. Just walking by on the street, I make it a point to smile, wave, speak. I feel like we all have been through something and we're hurting, and the more that we turn our backs on each other or get angry over your outfit, your hair, your skin color, all of these things are just things that they don't matter. It means absolutely nothing at the end of the day. So I went, high school, I was the girl that I'm going to look at you funny, I'm going to turn my head on you, I don't have anything to say to you. But now I make it a point, all ages, shapes, sizes, colors, everything, to make some type of engagement. A simple smile passing by to a stranger is like everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't know what that person's going through. And a lot of times when we hold stuff in, we're just slowly killing ourselves. When you open it out and you speak it out, the person to your right, the person to your left, the person all the way across the room is going through the exact same thing as you. So why not open? Why not communicate? Why not hug? Why not engage? Why not help and support each other?
And how do you prepare your daughter for a world like this?
Wow, my daughter is the type of daughter, every 5 minutes, it's Mom, help me with this, this, and that, and Mom, my friends need this. I mean, my daughter looks at me as if I am the ultimate healer, and I love that.
Maybe she should. Yeah.
In my eyes, I'm not. I'm just, another person on this earth, but she looks at me as if I have the answers to everything. So all of her friends come to me when they have issues, concerns, anything going on. And one thing that I'm very, very big on is not judging people. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you've been through in life which has caused you to act the way you're acting, and so how dare I even judge you? So I'm very big on telling her that. If she says, someone did this, this, and this to me, my daughter's name is Jasmine, I say, Jasmine, you have to let this person be exactly who they are. Whatever they feel to say, do, whatever, you have to let them do that. You can only speak for yourself. You can only move for yourself. But everybody has a right to do exactly what they want to do. It's funny because my mom will come to me and she'll say, Ebony, it's like I can't come to you with anything without hearing you say, it's okay. Like, it's okay. Let it go. Why are we even stressed, concerned, upset? Like, let it go. It is what it is, and let it go.
Yeah, which reminds me of something that I've been practicing. And also that was reaffirmed in my natal chart is to pick your battles. I mean, you learn this in the art of war. You can't go around fighting every battle. So it's really gotten me to the point where I'm not minding anybody's business, what they're doing over there, what they're doing over there. I really have to focus on what I am going to conquer. Especially now because I'm not getting paid to clock in and then get off, paid time off, and I'm always on the clock. Even when I'm not getting paid, I'm always on the clock. Even when I'm spending, leisure time with somebody, I'm always on the clock. So, do you have a morning routine?
I like to get up. So I met this guy in Starbucks. I used to get up and just boom, get my day started, look at my calendar and just go. But I met a man in Starbucks. I overheard him telling somebody how he likes his coffee, and I thought it was very, very strange. And then after engaging with him, he has had cancer 7 different times. He is now suffering from kidney failure. To see this man so in love with his life and still getting up every day, and he had a very small meal, and he said, this is all I'm going to eat for the entire day because of my blood levels and everything that's going on with him. And he said, I have a 3-minute rule in the morning when I wake up. And so I asked him what it is, and he said he wakes up, he has to lay there for a minute to kind of balance things out. Then he sits up, he has to sit there for a minute to kind of balance things out. Then he stands up, he has to stand there for a minute, and then he can take his first step. And I thought, if I ever wake up again and feel like I don't want to get up, don't want to do this, and just lay in bed, like, how can I, when this man has beat cancer 7 times, now has kidney issues, and he's so grateful every morning when he wakes up. He still has to take his time, because if he just gets up and goes, he's stumbling, he's dizzy, he's falling. And I applaud. I mean, I was moved. I was so moved, and I gave him a business card. And the funny thing is, he said that his doctor told him the one thing he can do is gentle yoga. So he was put there for a reason. We were there for a reason.
I would say so. So there's a part of you that feels like you kind of owe it to these people.
We owe it to ourselves.
Uh-huh.
It's not even that I'm doing it for I'm doing it for myself, because who knows what my future holds, Mm-hmm. And if I can show someone else that, hey, whether I'm sick, happy, sad, physically okay, I still owe it to myself to get up every single day and live this world as if I'm doing it for the first time.
Yeah. See, that's the part I'm trying to figure out, because I'm definitely with you. I owe it to myself. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I've been down, I look around, weren't too many people around, but I'm gonna try to flesh this out. But when I see people begging for money on the streets, and my neighbor who has dementia, and it's a task for him to even take the trash out, I really internalize those things, and I say it's almost like a spit in the face to make excuses where they aren't even necessary, where I could take action. See, this is what I learned about working with immigrants, because I worked in construction, and I worked with legal and illegal immigrants. They just don't make excuses, because excuses isn't going to feed your children. And that's something that I really appreciated. It made me realize how, I hate to say this as a black man in America, how privileged we are, knowing that a lot of people come over here with absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. And then you make something out of that. But when you take that mentality, when you throw out all excuses, it's like, I liken it to you get thrown into the ocean. You're not going to complain about if you can swim or not. It's either you're going to learn or you're going to die. That's it. Sink or swim. I mean, which one you going to do?
That's so very true.
I mean, so that's my mentality now. Sometimes I get frustrated because I do like to focus on my own business, but still, because what's around me influences me a little bit. I get like disappointed and kind of angered that I can't just download this mentality to other people's brains. I'm like, why don't you fucking get it? Like, just do it. Just push. You know, like my child's mom. I'm not picking on her, but she is outthinking herself when it comes to writing a book. I'm just like, get it out there. Get it out there. And I would tell her the story about Leonardo da Vinci. Obviously, you know the name. Everybody knows the name. But after a while, he stopped getting commissioned work because he was such a perfectionist. Whereas, like, you can always edit poor work. You can always build on something. You know what I'm saying? But you going for the home run without even starting, you stopping yourself by looking at the whole mountain, not understanding it's just, one pickaxe here, one pick, just climb.
One foot at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what we got next. Okay, because I have a daughter, as you know, 1 year old, and I understand the importance of a father being in his daughter's life. So what do you think that I can do to not get in her way?
Wow, that's so powerful. Because you're going to. I think parents beat themselves up so much. And I don't do that with myself, and I also don't do that to my parents. I spent plenty of years upset at my dad. We had a horrible relationship growing up, and it just came to the point where, again, I had to let him be who he is. I have no idea what was going on in his life when I was a child, when I felt like, he wasn't present like he should be, but I have no idea what he was going through. And so having my own children now, I tell them, hey, there's going to be days where you're probably going to hate me. There's going to be days I'm going to be this amazing mom, and days that I'm not going to be. Either or, love is still what we return to. I'm never going to be perfect. I will never have every answer. I will try my best. And there might even be days where I'm just like, hey, I don't even want to try anymore because I'm that exhausted. But I don't judge anybody's actions at all. That's like the hardest thing I think that I've had to do in my life, but the most beautiful outcome. The most beautiful out. There's no anger for me to express to anybody because I look at everybody like I don't know what happened to you at 2 years old and 7 years old and 17 years old and 25 and on, which is causing you to react, whether it's good or bad. All I can do is keep choosing to love and keep choosing to heal and grow on my own.
Okay. So how early in your kids' lives do you start making them, you start letting them make their own decisions?
My youngest is 12 years old, and he's making his own decisions. I kind of conversate with him if there's something he wants to decide to do and just kind of hear him out. I don't want to say up front yes and no, because in that I'm kind of, shortening him from being able to make his own decisions. So if I leave open communication, which is something I feel that I didn't have as a child, and I went through years of anger, like how can I be in a relationship or have my own kids or do this and that if I was not raised in a house where we communicated and had all this, hugs and loves and I love you. And I think when I finally let that anger go, the people that I needed to teach me how to communicate and teach me that hugs are okay and teach me that I love you is okay just started gravitating towards me. And now I'm surrounded by this community of communication and freedom and love and hugs, and it's like, wow, to spend all those years angry, why? Why?
Yeah, one thing that I kind of realized is that we Google Gaga our kids until they become 18, and it's like, there you go, you're responsible for everything we didn't teach you. And I've witnessed that in my own life. A lot of people that I grew up around, but now we're in an opportunity, if we understand this, that we can teach our children to think like adults before they are adults. Now, obviously, we don't hand them a drink or say, go smoke those cigarettes. But we teach them practical things. We don't just place them in this fairyland and without showing them the realness of it. So what's the balance in all that? Like, how do you decide how much you keep away from them until they're like 18 or 21 or something?
So I think the word choice, because listening to you say to teach them, I don't think it's my responsibility to teach. I think I should be open and be able to show them different things. I actually have a shirt that says deprogram, because I feel like as an adult, you have to, deprogram yourself from everything you were taught and, told, and relearn it or create what is a belief for you. So I don't say to my kids, this, and this is right, and this, and this is wrong. I just say, hey, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this one? And for them to be able to make their own choices. And I hope as they get older that they start to deprogram themselves from things that I did teach them. Because I had, I was pregnant, graduating from high school. What did I really know then that I was able to teach my son? He's 22 years old now, and I'm just like, I hope that he loves himself enough to know that he saw his mom at several different areas in her life, and he has that right to deprogram himself from anything that I taught him that in his eyes now is not correct.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have to say I had to deprogram myself from a lot of things I saw growing up. I mean, one of my earliest memories is my mom getting punched in the face, by my stepfather. And I grew up in a house where, my grandmother was very protective of my uncle, who was extremely abusive to everybody, including my mom. And I dealt with a lot of that anxiety because it was like, do I fight him? Do I just sit there and just let it eat me up? And it made me feel like I could not escape. And my mind goes towards suicide. I was heavily suicidal. It's probably still somewhat dormant in me, but I was heavily suicidal because of this man. And he got like every getaway, get out of jail free pass that he possibly could. And it's actually still the thing. I don't live there, but it's still the thing. And God, I just grew up saying that I was never going to do these things that I saw, but I still carried a lot of that with me. So I carried a lot of anger with me. So I didn't hit women or threaten to hit them, or do anything like that. But the anger was always there. The anger's still somewhat there in me, but it's like with the multiple practices that I do practice, you tie this in with semen retention. I feel like I direct my anger towards fighting a good fight. So, a lot of heroes make great villains. A lot of villains make great heroes, and I feel like I used all the negativity that I had in the past, every bit of bad that I had, and found a way to transmute it for better things. So I know a bully when I see one, and I'm not afraid to fight a bully because I had to stand up to him all the time. People always try me. That's the thing about growing up as a man, since we're talking about deprogramming, is that people will try you, and you want to stay into this box where I ain't gay, you know what I'm saying? I don't care about her or anything like that. And then you really have to learn how to shake that off and say, you know what, I'm very much comfortable with my sexuality. It's all right if I want to be friends with a gay person. It's okay if I want to tell a woman that I love her because I don't want her to go away. Obviously, I don't have to be over the top, but I can still tell somebody I love them. I can tell my male friend that I love him. Never know if I'm gonna see him again. I don't want to wait till his funeral and then let it all out where I can't really express myself anymore. Especially as a black man. We have so much pride that we will let it get in the way of who we could be, and our potential and things like that. It's not cool for us to read. Things like that. It's not cool for us to write poetry, meditate, yoga, to your point. And meanwhile we just got all this pent up emotion, don't know what to do with it. So it's interesting because I was going to lead with just saying, I was going to ask you, why is this more than stretching? But you already broke it down. So it's a lot of.
It's so much more. And I don't know if you know my journey, but I found yoga because I checked myself into a hospital ready to take my own life. So that's where I found it. And I remember sitting there with a handful of pills and, the doctor saying, just take these. And I'm like, there has got to be something more in this life than for me just to be medicated to heal from the things that are bothering me on the inside. And I literally handed the pills back and left the hospital. And I mean, when I tell you cry, I don't even know that many tears are even inside of my body, but I spent months and months and months crying. But I kept coming back to this mat, and I would have my Bible, I would have my journal, and I just stayed present and stayed on this journey and I didn't stop. I couldn't stop until I came over that hump of, this is me. This is me, and I'm not ashamed of anything in my life. You said what your dad did and what you did, the drug life. I've been there. My 2 oldest kids, and I was pregnant with my youngest, have seen our front door kick in, and people running in with guns and throwing me on the floor, and I'm pregnant, and my husband is out selling drugs. I've been through all of this in life, and I'm not ashamed of any of it. It's my journey, and it's why I'm here.
Yeah, I definitely don't think you should be, in some weird way, because I find myself to be attracted to kind of like fucked up things, because it kind of paints a picture of how life actually is, as opposed to trying to paint it as this fairyland, this fairy tale that people can't even relate to. It's just some type of escape, some type of high, But I think it's good to see life painted in front of us, because it brings out this disgust in us. And that's actually something I wanted to talk about, because disgust is a great motivator for me. Would you say that's the same thing for you? Does it push you towards anything?
I wouldn't say disgust, but being awakened, like just realizing where I came from, where I'm at now, and where I'm, where I could go. It's endless on where I could go. So I wouldn't say the word disgust. I'm awake. I'm awake, and I'm present, and I'm ready.
Yeah. Say you're awake. So you got the Ankh. What does that mean to you?
So to me, it means life. It's funny because my mom will always check in with me every now and then and say, Ebony, do you still believe in God? And, this and that. I see you have a Buddha in your room and this and that. And for me, God is not the same person when I was 12, 11, going to church with my family. God is not the same person when I was in my 20s and, going to church with my mom still and trying to raise kids. It is such a different journey that I'm on now, and I might lay outside at night in the nude under the moon, but for me, God made the moon. God made what I wear around my neck. God made all of my crystals and the leaves that I like to, smash my feet in. It's everything. It is everything. So I don't like to label with religion, and because I wear this, I have to practice a certain way, because I don't have a cross on. I'm going through a journey, and I'm open to experience whatever comes my way on this journey.
Yeah, because you mentioned the Bible, so I was just starting to think, you got the Ankh on. Is it Christianity going on? But it's just a thing of discernment, or just take it from here.
So I don't label. I've read the Quran. I've talked to Mormons. If I'm not open, again, here goes back to that deprogramming, but if I'm not open to get knowledge from everything on this planet, I'm only hurting myself. And then I have choices to make on which way I go. And if I want to have the Ankh around my neck and a cross on my wall and Buddha on the floor, all these things, who says I can't?
Yeah.
Who says I can't? And for me, honestly, the only thing that my Buddha statues do for me is the smile on their faces makes me so happy. It's not that I'm there, praying to them and it's a religion. It is the look on their face. It's the energy that I feel from the moon. It's the sound of the leaves. It's the rain hitting my body when I'm outside. I'm not tying it to a certain religion.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I am. I come from a family of Christians. They don't. It's tough to say. I mean, it's kind of like a default thing. We're Christians, but I'm not a Christian. I've always questioned it since I was a child. Where I am, and I even been an atheist, and but where I am now in life is kind of a similar thing. It's discernment. So I'll listen to T.D. Jakes, maybe Joel Osteen, but not necessarily Joel Osteen anymore, because what he did with the Houston flood, he kind of left them out until But so I'll listen to what they have to say. I'll listen to what the Muslims have to say, like you said. Even I even read a little bit of this Satanic Bible, which was kind kind of shocking to me because you would think it would be about burn babies and all this and that, but really the biggest message that's in there was to take matters into your own hands. Don't be passive. You know, it's just one of those things. If somebody harms you, you know, you defend yourself. You know, just things like that. It doesn't have to be a toxic thing, but discernment is something that I'm big on, and I can't begin to imagine how fear can keep a lot of people believing in something that's been placed in front of them. I guess, you know, not wanting to be judged, I understand that. But when you understand that you're gonna be judged anyway, it's just like, well, all right, let me have it. That's where I am. That's where I am in life. This is the next level for me, where it's like I could try to silence them all I want, but they still gonna think it. So I might as well just focus on all that I can do and try to win my race. You know what I'm saying? Because I think anybody who makes time to gossip about you, talk down on you, they're not focused on their own life. You know, they're all about the images and all these things. I'm focused on winning. You know, not beating anybody else, but just beating who I used to be. And as many times as I've contemplated suicide, and I mean, I was there. It takes life out of you to get so close. Like you, it's almost like you never really return. To get there, it's like, you know what? If I'm gonna live this life, I'm gonna live it the way that I want to. All right, and if the stars say I'm not meant to bow down to people, take orders from anybody, well, I'm gonna listen to the stars. I'm gonna listen to my natal charts, because most people, they don't listen to their intuition anyway. They don't listen to their higher good. You know, if life tells me to abstain from ejaculating, I'll do it. If it tells me to sober up, I will sober up. Okay, if it tells me to focus on respect, I'll do that. Meditate, whatever it is, I'll listen, and my life will continue to get better. Your life will continue to get better if you listen to those signs that to the messages that may require you to take a couple steps back, but ultimately the goal is to, you know, get further than where you originally were, you know, to keep advancing. So, do you have a North Star? Is this something you're aiming for?
Continued peace. I'm not really aiming. People tell me all the time that I'm floating in this earth, and I probably am, because, you know, I'm not. I mean, I keep a list of things that I know I need to get done, but I don't have like this ultimate goal, because it would be endless. There's a lady, I think she's 99 years old. She's the oldest yoga instructor, and I look at her and she's still doing headstands and all these things. And I mean, the ultimate goal, the aim is peace, health. You know, just it's being happy. And money is not always happiness. You know, I have a brother who was going through a rough time, and I remember the day he said to me, Ebony, I have $5 to my name, but I am the most peaceful, happy person right now. And I thought, wow, that's powerful. Like you're going beyond what society says and what, you know, the human nature tells you, but there's no goal. I mean, tomorrow I might say, hey, the only thing I want to do today is hang from a tree and hang upside down.
Oh,
you know,
okay,
and maybe the next day I want to, you know, really finish a book that I'm writing. You know, it's. Are
you?
Yeah. So I've published 2 books and 1 poetry CD.
Okay.
And I have a book that I wrote it years ago. My ex-husband spent 5 years in prison, and so it talks about what I went through when he was incarcerated, and I just need to finish some more things and publish it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm working on the new one too. It's gonna be pretty much my biggest one.
Big one.
Yeah, it's about embracing your role as a rebel. You know what I'm saying? Ever since I was little, I was a rebel. I just didn't always have a cause. I was like, in my family I grew up, I was the only dark skinned one. Like my blood grandmother, maternal grandmother, is white, and everybody else is just like light skinned. And I was for the longest time I was the only dark skinned one, and I noticed that relatively quickly. You know, I questioned a lot of things that other people just blindly followed. It left me being ostracized, left out of things like that. If you don't give into it and try to fit into the mold, will end up being one of the biggest blessings you'll ever have. Because I look at what everybody celebrates now. You look at a Lady Gaga, you look at a Beyonce or whatever. Yeah. They're weirdos. They're the weirdos who just are really extremely adamant about what they do. So it's very interesting to see the tides turn. You see a bunch of people who were bullied, nerds and all that. Now they rock stars in Silicon Valley. So it's a great incentive to be exactly who you are.
Yes.
Even if, and it's probably going to happen, even if you face a lot of adversity, and derision and all these things. I mean, it'll make a crazy person out of you, but it takes a crazy person to make a difference in this world.
Yes.
If you want to make a great difference, now you can make a living, you can fit in, no problem. But if you want to be remembered for something, that's what I'm focused on now, legacy. How I'll be remembered, what I can pass on to my kids.
Yep.
I can't pass on a 9 to 5.
Yes.
I mean, if I could, well, actually I wouldn't, because it'd be like passing on slavery. It's like, right now you're the apple of everybody's eye, but someday you'll be picking cotton just like the rest of us, and that's not what I want.
Yeah.
Because I held out until I was almost 27 to have a baby, because I didn't really want to bring a child into this world. But now that she is here, I want her to be a big player in the game. You know what I'm saying? So I want to teach her how to play. You know how to play chess?
Oh, I played chess as a kid. I haven't played chess in years. It would probably naturally come back to me.
Yeah, that's the frequency right now. I want to teach her how to think 10 moves ahead, 15 moves ahead. That's why I kind of overdose on playing chess now. I spend a lot of time.
It's a good mind game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're trying to outthink people, try to outthink the computer.
And outthink yourself too.
Exactly. Right, without outthinking yourself.
Yeah.
It's just one of those tools that's just readily available that we can use right now. Damn, I think we talked about everything. Really,
We really did. We talked about what? Sun moved and everything.
Yeah. So, how can people reach you? This is not the last you're gonna see of her. So, yeah, how can people reach you?
So my website is onewithebony.space. And on Facebook, it's One with Ebony, and it's spelled out ONE. On Instagram, everything, it's One with Ebony, ONEWITH, Ebony.
Okay, that's perfect. Anything else you want to talk about? Let me see. Let me check the time.
Yeah, what time is it?
It's 2:49. You gotta leave at 3:15.
Yeah, we did good. What else can we talk about?
I'll probably cut it off and think of something else that we can record, and
Okay.
just kind of on a specific topic.
Okay.
And then just try to ride out the time, or just talk.
Okay.
But so far this was good. I'm just go ahead and end it right now. Thank you all for tuning in, all 1 million of you. Thank you.